Hello everyone, this is Dr. Divya Madan from soulfullivingllc.com, your metaphysical counselor and healer. And today we are into day 13 of Bhagavad Gita. We are discussing the timeless wisdom, which is about leadership and spirituality. So as we are proceeding to chapter 13, what we have talked so far, Bhagwan talked about Sankhya Yoga, and also he talked about the Bhakti Yoga. So initial chapters he kept about talking Karma Yoga. Arjun, karma karo, right? And give all your karma to me. Arjun was in so much doubt how I can fight with my near and dear ones, or so-called my relatives, right? How can I fight with them? I have gurus. So Krishna just went on and on talking about the Sankhya Yoga and also the Bhakti Yoga. And as we have the summary of what we have learned so far is that any karma, anything which is given to you, any action that you're performing, any thought you have, anything you talk about, so all your mana karma vachan belongs to Krishna. If you can make your mind concentrated into the reminiscence of Krishna or Krishna consciousness, then everything you do is his prasad, and you will not get into the karma bandhan. So every time when we are eating, like remember when we were younger, like it's always like in most of the parents, like we are all grown up with that whenever the food is given to you, pray to the God, right? Say thank you. And also like the next step is like, Bhagwan, this is your prasad that I am having it. So the moment you make your bhojan prasad, divinity enters, right? The moment you start calling your food prasad, the taste, have you ever noticed that whenever you are eating prasad, even if it's a khichdi prasad, how delicious it is, right? And when you make the same khichdi at home, but you do not like pray, or you don't call it prasad, like okay, aaj khichdi bani. Everybody is like, what? You have made khichdi today, right? So the difference between the bhojan and prasad is that the moment you change your intention toward whatever you are having, or whatever you're speaking, or whatever you're doing, it is for the seva, right? Then your attitude changes, your outlook changes, and that karma becomes, when you are doing the action, like if I am cooking, I'm like, oh my God, I have to cook for everyone, right? But the moment as like I am cooking for the manifestation of the God, like I'm doing it, the service to the God, let me cook, my energy will immediately change. And that is what Krishna continuously kept telling us, that action, any action you do, give it to me. Any thought you have in your mind, give it to me. Whatever you speak, give it to me. Then you do not get into the karma bandhan, right? So here in chapter 13, so here Arjuna starts and he asks he asks 6 questions. The question is, what is Kshetra? What is Kshetragya? Kshetra means field. Like people say, in Hindi there's a word Karya Kshetra, or workplace. So Kshetra is a place, okay? What is Kshetragya? Means who is the knower of that kshetra or that workplace. Then, so 2 questions, Kshetra Kshetragya, workplace, and who is the knower of the workplace. Other 2 questions are, what is Prakriti, what is Purush? What is Prakriti, what is Purush? He is also asking about what is the wisdom. So Prakriti, Purush, Kshetra and Kshetragya, and other 2 I will just explain while I keep moving forward. Okay. So Bhagwan is saying, what is Kshetra? So Kshetra is the place, your work field. So here your workplace is your body. Your workplace is your body. And who is the knower of this workplace? Your soul. So there is one Kshetra and there are 2 Kshetragya. So also they explain it as like if a farmer is working on a field, that is his Karya Kshetra, its workplace, then he sows seed. Who would know what kind of seed is sown there? The farmer, right? So here, this is our body, and what we sow in it, like our thoughts, are the seed. And who knows all of it is your soul. And also who knows about it? Your supreme soul. Because your body belongs to this supreme soul. We are all manifestation of the divine supreme consciousness. So he knows all of us, obviously. And then our soul also knows our body. And then our Kshetra is the work is done by the body, right? So again, so for example, I'll take another example, like somebody is working in the office, okay? So he knows what he's working on, but who else knows what he's working on? His manager. And what all are working on is the head of the organization. Making sense? Right? So Kshetra and Kshetragya. So here we have soul, atma and Parmatma. So then how it works. How it works. So our body works because of the 5 elements. So the 5 elements, also the ego, the intellect, and the primordial matter, which is chitta, mana, buddhi, ahankar, right? Chitta. So we have like earth, water, air, fire, space, Panchabhuta. Panchabhut is dharti, jal, vayu, agni, and akash, right? Now there is another 3 elements, which is man, buddhi, ahankar. We also put chitta into it, but man, buddhi, and ahankar. Then 10 organs of perception, like Jnanendriya and Kamendriya. So organ of perception and action. Sense organs are sound, touch, color, taste, smell. Right? So earth is associated with smell, like I have talked about it multiple times before too. Right? Earth associated with smell, water associated with taste, fire associated with eyesight, air associated with touch, and space associated with sound or hearing. So Jnanendriya, so we take the information from these 5 senses. And then our Karmendriya, like how do we take action? Hands, legs, mouth, right? And we also have, like you see through eyes, right? You smell through nose, you taste through your your tongue, your mouth. But when you have to take action, then you speak and you walk, you act, right? So hand, legs, mouth, and two openings, which is your stool and the urine excretion points. So these are your action, Kamendriyas. So total how many? 5 Gyanendriyas, 5 Kamendriyas, 5 sense organs, right? 5 elements. And then Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara, Atma, Parmatma. So these are all, this constitutes our body, mind, and soul. So this is how a human being brings in their thoughts and processes it and acts on it. And in this kshetra, which is your like karma kshetra, which is your body and your mind, the desire manifests here. Aversion, pleasure, pain, sukh, dukh. The pain, sorrow, aversion, resentment, where does it manifest? In your mind. The seed gets sown in your mind, and where it is manifested in your body. So when we have this mind-body connection, we have talked about it multiple times, right? That in your the anger is stored in your liver, resentment is stored in your kidneys, grief is stored in your lungs, right? We have talked about these things earlier, that how your thought becomes pattern and how those patterns gets manifested in your physical body. Like if you're, so then you have like pain and all those issues, like those diseases, we have mapped it, right? We have talked about it in detail multiple times, that how your thought, which has become pattern, and this is like, obviously it is not like just one life, it is multiple lives. We collect those experiences, and every life we try to get detangled from those emotions, right? So what is prakriti, what is purush, what is gyan and what is gyai? Like somebody, what is the wisdom and who is the wisdom giver, or who is the holder of the wisdom? What is kshetra, what is kshetragya, what is purush, what is prakriti? So how all of this is related and how we can get into the path of moksha. So this is the chapter which is talking about that pain, aversion, because we have been talking about it, that we have to remain always equanimous, means always equal. Look at pain and joy equally. Stay in the center. Right? We have been talking about it continuously. And here, like if you look at like sukh and dukh with the same mindset, same way, you do not get overexcited when you're happy, when you do not get too sad, when something does not go your way. In both the cases, if you can remain in the center, if you can keep your mind in control, then you do not get into maya. You do not get into illusion, because that is the time when you feel sorrow, that at that time you start desiring something, right? You want something to happen in your way. Like, oh God, aisa ho jaye, yeah, aisa ho jaye. We do that, right? When we are in pain. So what do? When we are in pain, shouldn't we ask to get relief from the pain? That would be an obvious question. Yes. You take your pain, think of Krishna, and generally I would say think of, because we have talked about various forms of Krishna, right? One which has like all permissible, omnipresent, like big feet, eyes everywhere, nose everywhere, number of heads. Right? We did talk about like this, like the Bhagwan in his like complete like Vishwarupa. Right? The other version of Krishna, we saw that when he's devouring the whole world, like he's eating the whole world. when he showed Krishna that how everyone was dead, like he was worried about, I don't want to kill them. He said, like, see, they're already dead. Like we are all destined to die. So we are already, like in some dimensions, like that is already written. So he said, like, they're already dead. You are just being a medium to perform the action. You're just performing the action. But it is not that you are killing them. I have already devoured them. And the third form of Krishna was Chaturbhuj, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Kamal ka fold. So he had like 4 things in his hand: couch, the Shankha, Sudarshan Chakra, the disc that he used to carry, Gada, and the lotus flower. So Gada is also like one kind of like weapon, like a stick. It is like a little, like it has like a bigger ball on the top, and it's like a stick but with like a ball kind of head on it. So Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Haste, that's another form of Vishnu Rupa or Shri Krishna. So what do you do when you are in pain? You think of the God in any of the form which suits you best. You can ask him to devour your pain. You can give it to him, or you can ask him to relieve. You can just give it to him, and my pain is with you. Just let me know what I have to do about it. What is my learning? What is the solution? Why I am in this situation? How I have created this pain? How I can come out of it? And the moment you chant Hare Krishna, the answer will come to you. Right? So now the Krishna is talking about who is dear to him. There are 18 qualities of a human being that is dear to him and who is closest to him. One, who doesn't have like too much of pride. घमंड नहीं करता है. One who is not hypocrite. Like one who is simple. जो मन में है वो मुंह पर है. चालाकी नहीं करता है. Manipulate नहीं करता किसी को. One who is not manipulative. One who practices non-violence. If you guys remember, we talked about 8 limbs of yoga, Patanjali yoga, right? Yam Niyam. So those are the traits that we talked about. That is what Krishna is talking about here. One who doesn't have pride, because the whatever is being done is done by, if he thinks of Krishna as the doer and think of themselves as medium, Krishna loves them. Somebody who is not a hypocrite, somebody who is not manipulative, somebody who practices non-violence in every form. Man, vachan, karma. Somebody who practices non-violence by not making a violent comments, like the words that can hurt somebody. With their words, somebody doesn't think bad about somebody from their mind, and somebody does not hurt someone. But we also talked about non-violence as somebody who does not allow somebody to do bhakti. Or somebody who does not support the bhakt, the devotees, to perform their rituals or tasks. That is also one kind of violence. So when your mind is not fixated into the God and you're thinking about something else, then also, in terms of Gita, that is also violence. Okay. So uprightness in speech, mind, somebody who's devout, without any results, like without the expectation, somebody who's doing the service, who's pure, whose mind is steadfast, and they are able to control their senses. So these are the who is compassionate, who is forgiver. So all these traits, who is free of ego, and he is constantly thinking about the ways to get out of the bondage of life and death. So these are the traits of a human being which is very dear to Krishna. So all these people who practice purity, simplicity, what they think, they do not like, they're not hypocrites, they do not lie. Those who are simple, who is filled with compassion towards self and others. They just do not get engaged into unnecessarily pleasure. But who is devoid of egotism, who is devoid of unnecessary attachment. They might be living with their husband, wife, children, family members, but their mind remains in center in both favorable and unfavorable situations. Because the people who are in grihasti, people who are homebound, who have family, spouses, parents, children, it is like the battleground is right in your home. You don't have to go anywhere to find out how to, like, your questions every day, there will be a situation that you will be looking for answers, that how do I behave now? Right? Family, co-workers, managers, subordinates, these people are like just very close to you. So when it's like positive thinking, Krishna doesn't ask you to do positive thinking. Krishna is just remain in the center. Did he say even once that start thinking positive? No. The situation's adverse. What do I do? Give it to Krishna. What do I do in this situation? And immediately you will get the answer. So one who has like unflinching devotion in me. So I always feel that faith can move mountains, right? It is said also, faith can move mountains. No matter what, I might be, we have also talked about it, I might be a sinner, I might have done many mistakes in my life, but still the moment I decide to go with all faith to Krishna and say, Krishna, I might have done something wrong in my life, but now I am here in your shelter. Take me, show me the path. So a very interesting story came in front of me while I was reading something, that once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking or going somewhere, and he saw a Brahman reading Gita, and he was holding Gita upside down. Book ulta pakda hua tha. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what are you doing? It's like, I'm reading Gita. Sir, how are you reading Gita? It's upside down. So he started crying, and he was also like looking at it and crying. So he said, I have never studied, like मैं अनपढ़ हूँ. I do not know how to read or write. I have never studied school. So then he said, why, how are you reading it then? He said, I went to the Guru, and the Guru said that you have to read it. So I am holding the book One thing I know, that Krishna, who's all like pervading, omnipresent, all powerful, from whom we are all created, he not only took the human form, but also become the Sarathi, right? The driver, actually, the charioteer of Krishna, of Arjuna, because he loved Arjuna. And that is bringing tears in my eyes, that how big his heart is for his bhakts, for his devotees, for those who come into his shelter. He is ready to become a driver, a charioteer. And that is bringing tears in my eyes. That's why I'm crying. How big he is. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you understood Gita. In that one sentence, you understood Gita. That Bhagwan Bhakta Vatsal hai. Bhakta Vatsal matlab he loves his devotees. Vatsal matlab pyar. So Bhagwan Shri Krishna, or the Supreme Consciousness, all loves his devotees, anybody who comes into his shelter. So he said, then the question, what is Gyan? What is wisdom? So constantly who's seeking God and trying to understand the truth coming from a guru is always a best thing to do. So when you are reading, that helps your buddhi, your intellect. When you're listening to Gita, you're reading the Gita or you're listening to Gita, it is helping your intellect. But when you're doing the chanting, it helps your mind. And when your mind becomes unflinched and it is like constantly focused into the divine, it comes with practice. It doesn't happen in one day. Then your ego, mana, buddhi, ahankar, right? So mind, intellect, and ego. Ego starts subsiding. So when your mind is not fixated into understanding of moksha, how to gain moksha, how to understand the truth, how to be with the God, the Supreme Consciousness. Because there are like multiple questions. Right now you are listening, right? You are listening to a divine wisdom. But none of the knowledge is complete until it is applied. Because when you apply it, then you know what is the result. And then only it becomes your own. So whatever being taught to you, you need to think through it. Think through it and then bring it to the action. Then he also started about like Prakriti and Purush. What is Prakriti? What is Purush? So everything happening in this universe, in this Brahmand, is because of the Prakriti. So what are the three kinds of Prakritis? Satogun, Rajogun and Tamogun. We talked about it, right? Satogun, Tamogun and Rajogun. So Satogun is the people who are like very pure. So all the traits that we talked about when we started, like what are the traits which is dear to God in a human being? So those people who can practice non-violence, chastity, purity, simplicity, those traits are very dear to God. So those are like Satoguna. Then Rajogun is like somebody who's like really passionate about like something they want to achieve and they keep working towards it. That's Rajogun. And Tamogun is sadness, despair, laziness, unable to make movements. So those are like Tamogun. So people who are into Tamogun always thinking bad, always in like despair, not in the center. So Bhagavan also talks about that people who are like, who free themselves from any of this guna, means they're pure, but they're not like planning to be pure. They are prideless, but they're not planning to be prideless. It is just, it comes from the bhakti. So when we started, like, how do you achieve these kind of traits? Through bhakti. Because when you are into when you give everything to God, after a while it's like, oh, I'm angry, I have to give this to the God. I got angry a few times a day. Now this is, at the end of the day, we are giving every fruit of our action is going to the God. Right? So who is the bhokta? One, when we say bhog hai, ye bhog hai, right? Somebody is suffering, it's like he's wo bhog raha hai. If somebody is having lots of good things, wo bhi bhog hai, bolte na? That people are like enjoying, and when they're suffering. In both the cases, we use the word bhog. Have you ever heard of it? So who exactly enjoys or gets into trouble? So Sharir looks like the body is suffering, but at the end of it, it is the God who is suffering. When you're enjoying, it is ultimately the God is there, the supreme consciousness, the Krishna, that he is enjoying. Jivatma, Atma, Parmatma. So whosoever is the head has to suffer, right? When somebody is sick in your house, if a child is sick, child does suffer, but what about parents? Do they suffer? They do suffer in a different way, but they also suffer. And always emotional pain is way bigger than the physical pain. So again, Krishna says, somebody who sees God, the supreme consciousness, the Krishna consciousness in everything, be it living or non-living in terms of biological sciences, that this is living thing, this is not living thing, but people who treat living or non-living in the same way. As I said, if you have a table in your house, if you have a bed or something, it is, if you look at like the biological definition, it's non-living. But why it is asked that you should be keeping it clean, taking care of it. Take care of our car, take care of our furniture, take care of this or take care of that, right? So when people pay the same amount of care to everything in their life, if they look at it with somehow, then they go beyond the prakriti. So even if somebody is full of satoguna, all good deeds, they will be reborn as devata, gods, goddesses. But still, we have already discussed about that. Even the gods and goddesses, when they are punya karma, their chastity, their services, their good deeds, they have a bank account of that, right? So that bank account, when it vanishes, they have to come back to the earth and to restart their journey. Obviously, they will not be born as like in a very lowest of the lowest status, but still they have to do sadhana again, they have to do the charity and everything again and go back to the Devaloka, or depending upon how they have behaved during their lifetime. People who are into Rajoguna, who are like constantly desire and taking action towards it and not giving it to Krishna, then what happens? They get reborn as human being. And people who are always in tamo, means always sad, always upset, always not being able to trust the God that he will definitely take care of themselves, of them. They take birth in the lower yonis. It could be animal, it could be a household where there would be so much of despair, hopelessness. So now that you all understand that is, even if you are in all satogun or rajogun or tamogun, you're not out of that cycle. So we have to come out of that prakriti too. And how is it possible? Just by doing the bhakti. Bhakti will keep purifying you. Keep purifying your thoughts, your mind, your words, your action. It will keep getting purified. जब आप भक्ति करते हैं, जब आप मंत्र का जाप करते हैं, जब आप ध्यान करते हैं, when you meditate, when you chant, what happens? When you're chanting, do you feel like being angry at someone? Getting agitated, irritated? You might be once in a while, but immediately you will be able to bring it back, because that is the practice you are doing, right? So the more you practice, and I told you already, you can practice it anywhere. You're cooking and do the dhyan. You're walking, you can do the dhyan. You're cleaning, you can do the dhyan. Anything which does not require your mind to be constantly applied to it, you can just give it to Krishna and do whatever you need to do. All Krishna said, whatever you're doing, give it 100%. Otherwise, you'll have to come back. If you have not studied properly in a class, you will fail. And what will happen? You will have to repeat the class. So, instead of thinking anything, whatever job you have, do it with utmost sincerity and to your best capacity. He's not even asking you to do something beyond capacity. If you can make 2 dishes comfortably, do not go and make 5. Because that will start creating resentment in you, anger in you, because you'll get tired. And the moment you get tired, what happens? Tamogun takes you. And then you go spirally down. जब आपको नींद आ रही होती है, जब आप थके हुए हो, उस समय अगर आपको एक चाय भी बनाने बोला जाए तो कैसा लगता है? And when you get up in the morning, you're all fresh. You'll be like, okay, can I make tea for everyone? Happens. So, taking proper rest is also very important. We talked about Ritucharya, Dincharya and all when we were doing the Vedanta, right? That how we should behave in certain weather, certain days. When we also talked about diurnal cycles, right? What time belongs to what part of body. So we have that video in YouTube when I talked about the diurnal cycle. You definitely should go and watch it as well, so that you know that how you do not get shifted to tamo guna. If you act with other diurnal cycle, like 2-hour cycle, also we have the cycle in Ayurveda also, that what time belongs to what. So this is not the tamo guna will keep you going towards the further. It will just keep adding the tamo in you. And then what will happen? That the entities also, because like energy attracts like energy, they will start attracting lower forces, lower entities. If you are into the mood of if you are just okay, I want to finish this chapter today. If I'm reading something, I want to finish this book today. And then I just pray to Krishna that, Krishna, this is the job I have in my hand and I want to finish this. Please help. And then you start reading. You will find that the focus that you will have will be unprecedented. And then what is the fruit of the action that you have finished the book? So whatever you have learned, think of it. And then that also offered it to Krishna, that this is what I've learned today. I am telling you, immediately you will get the answer if you had learned something, not understood something right. He will definitely guide you. So, but that is so creating desire and giving it to Krishna. But when we do not do that, like I have to finish this, what happens when you are not able to understand and you have like say 1 hour and it is going beyond that, you have not finished it? What happens? You start getting anxious, right? You have a task at hand and you felt that it might only take like 30 minutes or 40 minutes or an hour, and now it is going beyond that and you start getting stressed. But when you started like, Krishna, I'm giving it to you, and then you start reading it, you don't understand something, Hare Krishna. What will happen the moment you say Hare Krishna? You come to your heart, your center, and you become calmer. The moment you become calmer, जैसे मन शांत होगा, क्या होगा? Immediately you will be able to understand the concept. Even if it will take you 3 times, you will not get perturbed, you will not get disturbed, you will not get anxious, because Krishna is watching you. Maybe the other thing that you had planned, he will immediately, that might get shortened. I do not know about any of you, but I have always seen that if I do not have time in my hand, like maybe I have somewhere to go, though on that day my calls will be lower. When I have time, I have like packed schedule. I just feel that God knows when I'm available, what I'm capable of, what I'm not capable of, and he just watches me and allows me to do things the way it's needed. Many times I'm getting late and I hear from somebody, can we start like 30 minutes later? Sometimes it happens like somebody was definitely like looking for me, they wanted to talk to me, and then the person was, even if they start talking, it's like something comes and like, oh Divya, I have to go, and the moment they just hang up the phone, somebody else will call. So these small things always, like I just feel that the supreme consciousness, that God is always watching me. And some people call it like law of synchronicity or law of attraction. I just feel that when you are willing to give yourself to the God, yes, I am also work in progress. There are times that I feel that something is not going and I just start getting irritated. But when I know that I have got into that state, I immediately pull myself back, and then I ask myself, when I saw the red flag, did I ignore it? So what I'm trying to tell you guys, stitch in time. The first time you see discrepancy, immediately take action. Yes, all my action has to be given. But when you give your action to the God, when you are aware, if you're not aware of your thought, your action, your words, then it is very easy to get slipped. And once you slip, you have to start the practice again, because test is again going to come. Learning things and not applying is not enough. So the moment you learn something, immediately something will come in front of you and you will be tested. But the moment you fail, immediately give it to God and say, please give me the wisdom, the knowledge, that I do not get into this trap again, and I remain equanimous in any situation, good, bad. So desires, not in tandem, will always hurt. So we did talk about Kshetra, we talked about Kshetragya, we talked about the knowledge, we talked about the wisdom, like who understands it. We talked about the Prakriti, the three guna, and the Purusha, who is the holder of the Prakriti. So whatever the Prakriti does, so all these actions, so Purush is basically the supreme consciousness. So Prakriti, all the actions performed because of the Prakriti goes to the holder of it, is Purusha. Purusha has to endure it. So the Prakriti and Purush, so whatever happens, like somebody is like very sick or somebody is sad or upset, where it is coming from. Somebody has done something to me and I start blaming people, or you start blaming people, like we all do at times, like because of this, because of that, because of that. But then we have to go back and see that what was my thought. So was my thought was Sattva thought or Rajo thought or the Tamos thought? Like everything which is happening to us is because of my own Prakriti. Other people are just the medium in our lives to trigger those emotions. So no blame game. We cannot blame anyone. Neither we have to blame ourselves. If we have chosen something, or we have somebody in our lives who are constantly bothering us, then we have to really take care of our own Prakriti. But that where it is going, if I'm centered enough, or what I am thinking, what I am doing, what is my action, what is my thought, what are my words, if I just keep checking on them, I will get to know why this disease has happened to me, or why the financial situation or my relationship situation are in trouble. Where did I go wrong? Was it like the first red flag I ignored? How many red flags I've ignored? So the more you ignore things which is bothering you and do not seek the solution for it, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to the point that you are no longer able to handle it. And then only way to handle it is like, yes, you have to come to spirituality and spiritual understanding. And if you had that understanding right from the beginning, when you were little, and if you were taught all of this properly, we all are taught, but it is not like a continuous learning process that you have. We all are taught something based on what our parents knew or our teachers knew. But if they were not enlightened, they will not be able to give us the right way to conduct ourselves. So at the end, probably like I think like I covered all of the shlokas one by one without even thinking that word. But I think I have explained to you Kshetra and Kshetragya. Take care of your body very well, and the knower is seeing it. Gyan and Gyan, like the knowledge and the holder of the knowledge, or the essence of the knowledge. Prakriti and Purush. So these were the 6 questions was asked by Arjuna and explained by Krishna. That Arjuna, as the one, this one sun that illuminates this entire universe, so as the atma is illuminated. So same as like as the sun illuminates the whole universe, similarly the Supreme Soul eliminates every kshetra, means everybody. So that was the crux, that we all are illuminated by the Supreme God, and our just being righteous or is not enough. We have to remain centered and reach to that state. So with practice of dharma, constant practice of dharma will take us to the state that we are talking about, and eventually cross the ocean of this life and death. And many times, like when people are in this life, when they have like no issues, they think, why we should not born? I feel it's great. I enjoy being with my children. I enjoy being with my husband. I enjoy being with my family. I enjoy with my friends. I enjoy the picnic. I enjoy the party. And if I do not take birth again, I might not be able to enjoy all of it. So why shouldn't I take birth again? So because at this point of time, you have no issues, does not mean that you will not have any issues ever. This whole universe is impermanent. You never know when that one friend, one family member will pass, or break off with you, or go somewhere else. Friends, family is fine. They'll go somewhere. There will be time, like when you start getting older, maybe your eyes will get weaker, some disease will happen, some other issues you will not be able to. There could be anything that might have happened to you. And at that time, you're like, oh my God, there's so much of discomfort. But at that time, because you never thought about gaining the wisdom, at that, so you do not have the wisdom because you were so engulfed and in enjoying, so-called enjoying your life, that if you did not bother about gaining these wisdom, where would you land up? Where will you land up? And Krishna has already said, and we have seen it multiple times, the situation that you would die, that whatever you would be thinking at the time of your death, or whatever situation you will be in, you will start from there. But you have devoted your life into connecting to the Supreme Consciousness or Krishna consciousness. Where would you end up? In bliss and peace. And if you are needed to come, Krishna will send you back to do something. So coming back to earth, I would not say it's a bad thing, but in what circumstances, what situations you're coming is also very important. And now that we all understand that life is just not the beginning and end of this birth. Life was before that. Also, we have taken births multiple times, and we will be taking births if we do not understand the concept. So we do not want to go to Devi or Devata. So I think this is the time that I should be sharing my experiences with you about Kundalini. So 2014, my Kundalini, I knew, I do not know how, but I knew that my awakening is going to happen. My Kundalini will start rising. I have no clue how I was getting that, but I was very sure that I am about to have that experience. And started almost like 10 days ago, before I started like the full-blown experience. And all of a sudden the vibrations in my body like started from the Muladhara and it just went up and up, up and up, and I could not stop that vibrations. Okay, vibrations was like one part of like this, the physical phenomena that was happening. But most importantly, what I am trying to tell all of you is the understanding that started dawning on me. Many things that I had no clue what were they. Like everything I thought I knew was right, it was like broken into pieces. And I was like so fearful because the change which is impermanent, and that is what was coming to me. That if you like, I was like always like, what was wisdom? What is the truth? Impermanence was so ingrained into my system that whatever you have today, if you're not grateful for it, if it is not there tomorrow, what will you do? And the moment it came, it just came that stay in the center. And the slowly, my understanding of like the attachment. I'm not saying that I do not love my children or I do not love my husband or my parents or anybody, but my attachments level went down from being like upset at small things like why they have not done this or done that, to this or that, has changed into God bless them. Even if they do something wrong or if they're crying, I'm like, oh, in front of them, I'm like, oh, that is really bad. It should not happen. If their work is they're getting irritated or they're getting upset about like something not being able to do that they're trying to do at work or at school or whatever, I'm like, oh, that's terrible. Oh my God, it's too much. Just to be with them. But at the same time, I keep praying that God give them the wisdom that they can finish their task. That's it. So simplicity does not mean like you should not be manipulative, but at the same time, I'll just take an example. The simplicity does not mean that you have to be a fool. Diplomacy does not, like, you do not have to be diplomatic, but at the same time, you cannot just be harsh. So one good example could be that if somebody is trying to rob you of your money, so they could find like some amount of money in your pocket and they took it, but you had some money hidden somewhere in your suitcase or somewhere inside. You don't say that, oh, this is whatever you have, give it to me. You don't have to like dig out from everywhere and give it to him, right? Agree? So that is not, if you do that, then it is not simplicity. If somebody is in need and you find some money in your pocket and you give it to them, that's a different thing. But somebody is trying to rob you, you don't allow people to rob you. But if they are like, you just try your level best, whatever you can to save your belongings. Obviously, again, Krishna is always there, but we have to do our purusharth. So just by learning is not enough. That is what I'm saying. That purusharth is necessary, taking action is necessary, that doing karma is necessary. Because your every action has a result, whereas your every inaction also has a result. So you have to be very careful what action you're performing or what inaction. Sometimes like, okay, chhod do. Just don't worry about it. If something's not associated with you, you just like, we do not interfere. Where? So you have to really see the context, where you need to interfere, where you need to interfere, what you do, what you don't do. It is all contextual. Context. If somebody is lying on the street, we cannot just leave him on the God. We have to do something, right? If somebody is sick and you see them, or if you cannot do something about it, you'll call the police, or you call the ambulance, you call the hospital, you do something, right? So if you just leave that sick person or somebody who has suffered an accident and you don't do anything about it, won't you be guilty? And when you feel guilty, then you will punish yourself by getting yourself in trouble in some way, and you won't even remember that you felt guilty about not taking an action where you wanted to, but you refrained. So let's conclude the session. So I will just do the gratitude prayer. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So whatever the katha we said today, I'm offering to Lord Krishna. So the arti that we have, Tera tujhko arpan kya lage mera. Whatever belongs to me is yours. It is yours. Everything's yours. Om Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jagdish is also a name of Bhagavan Vishnu. Right? Thanks to every soul, supreme soul who was here today. to help us to conduct this beautiful meditation. Thanks to all of you to listening to me so patiently. Thanks to the divine energies. Above all, Bhagwan Shri Krishna, who gave me the opportunity to even mention Gita from my mouth. Feel very blessed. Thank you so much. Let's pray for the entire universe. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu nirameha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhag bhave. Om lokah samastah sukhinah bhavantu. May all be happy, may all be blessed. Namah Shivaya. Jai Shri Krishna. Let's do a few chants. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे रामा Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Om Shanti Shanti. Namah Shivaya, Dhanvana, Jai Shri Krishna.
नमस्ते everybody.
Namah Shivaya.
सब ठीक ही है, सब सुन रहे हैं, हम भी थोड़ा अध्ययन करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं इसको डीपली।
धीरे धीरे करके जो है वो अंदर तक ना उतरना शुरू होगा, धीरे धीरे करके, क्योंकि ये बहुत वास्ट सब्जेक्ट है टू अंडरस्टैंड इट, है ना। फर्स्ट एक बार पढ़ने से नहीं होगा, फिर रिव्यू भी करना होगा, है ना।
लेकिन आप एक एक चैप्टर क्लियर, मतलब चैप्टर वाइज तो क्लियर हो जा रहा है कि क्या चैप्टर में, ये बात तो 18 चैप्टर आज तक हम लोग पढ़े भी नहीं थे, लेकिन अब ध्यान आ गया कि इसको पढ़ सकते हैं और इसको चैप्टर वाइज समझ सकते हैं। अब समझ लिए हैं तो इसमें बहुत आसानी होगी, अब पढ़ने में मजा भी आएगा, उसको
हाँ,
मन भी लगेगा।
वो बिल्कुल सही बात है, क्योंकि उसको समझना बहुत मुश्किल है कि अब मतलब सब चीजें अलग अलग से पता चलती है, लेकिन जब तक आप उसका जैसे एक व्याख्या नहीं होती है ना, जब तक उसका मीनिंग प्रॉपरली आप नहीं बताते हैं, तब तक वो चीज अपनी नहीं होती है।
लेकिन अब क्या है कि जब भी पढ़ेंगे तो ये सब चीज दिमाग में चलते रहेगा और सब समझ में आते हैं,
और पूरा का पूरा, हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही बात है। और हम पूरा का पूरा जो है वी विल पुट इट ऑन यूट्यूब आफ्टर सेशंस आर ओवर, सो दैट कि सबको को उसका भाग मिले, फल मिले, खुशी मिले उसको सुन के।
नमस्ते मैम।
नमस्ते श्रावणी। सबके लाइफ में फर्क पड़ा है कि नहीं पड़ा, अपनी एटीट्यूड में फर्क पड़ रहा है कि नहीं पड़ रहा है?
हाँ मैम, मेरे मन में कुछ क्वेश्चन, कुछ क्वेरी चल रहा था, तो कुछ जब कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है तो कुछ ना कुछ मैसेज आ जाता है, या कोई फोन में कुछ वीडियो या कुछ मैसेज तब आ जाता है दिमाग में, तब मुझे समझ में आता है क्या करना पड़ता है, क्या नहीं करना पड़ता है। ये मेरे साथ बहुत होता है मैम।
वो सब वो डिसाइड करते हैं, है ना। मुझे कुछ नहीं करना है, उनको पता है मेरी कैपेसिटी क्या है, मेरी नीड क्या है। तो जो तुम बोल रहे हो श्रावणी, वो बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हो कि ये हम सबके साथ हो रहा है।
कुछ ना कुछ मैसेज आ जाता था मैम। कोई
बिल्कुल।
वीडियो हो, कोई क्लू हो, कुछ ना कुछ, कोई मेरी बच्ची एक बात बोल देती है तो वो वही एक मैसेज समझ के मेरा अंदर मेरे दिमाग में बैठ जाती है कि हाँ यही तो सही है। तो कोई ना कोई कुछ ना कुछ दरिया, हम लोग तो मीडियम है ना, तो सब तो उनके हाथ में है। थैंक यू सो मच मैम। जय श्री कृष्ण मैम।
जय श्री कृष्ण। यू गॉट इट श्रावणी।
मैम आज गीता का हम 13 चैप्टर फिनिश कर चुके हैं। ये 2 चीज मैंने बहुत स्ट्रांगली अपने लाइफ में अप्लाई की है। एक, हम बोलते हैं हम सरेंडर कर रहे हैं, गॉड को समर्पण कर रहे हैं, एट द एंड दिमाग में चिंता है, दैट इज नॉट सरेंडर। मैं लास्ट 10 दिन से अपने मन से ट्रूली सरेंडर कर चुकी हूँ। अब चिंता भी नहीं होती, क्योंकि चिंता नहीं होती इसलिए मन शांत रहता है। सब कुछ छोड़ दिया, देखो जो करना है कर ले बस। अब मैं कुछ नहीं। All my actions are dedicated, devoted, surrendered to you. तो मन बहुत, I am at peace. और ये मैं अपने आसपास के लोगों को भी बताती रहती हूँ पूरे टाइम, अपने पेरेंट्स को बताती रहती हूँ। वो लोग बोलते हैं हाँ मैं सरेंडर कर दी, पर चिंता करते रहते हैं मेरी, तो मैंने उनको भी समझाती रहती हूँ। बहुत अच्छी बात है। मैं बहुत ज्यादा अटैचमेंट बहुत ज्यादा है कुछ रिलेशंस में मेरे, बहुत ज्यादा है मैम। अब मैं ये प्रैक्टिस करती हूँ क्योंकि अब मुझे ये समझ में आ गया ये मेरी जर्नी है। क्योंकि जब हम बहुत ज्यादा अटैच होते हैं तो हम उसके दुख और उसकी खुशी में बहुत कैरिड अवे हो जाते हैं। बिल्कुल। तो अब मैं अपने आप को सेंटर्ड रखती हूँ। आई एम डूइंग माई ड्यूटीज, बट दिस इज ऑल अबाउट माई जर्नी। सो इफ आई गेट कैरिड अवे, मुझे गुस्सा आता है, मैं भी बहुत इमोशंस के साथ कैरिड अवे हो जाती हूँ, जो कि मुझे नहीं होना है। तो मैं बहुत अपने आप को फोकस्ड रखती हूँ, अपने जो भी दिनचर्या है उसको करती हूँ, अपना काम करती हूँ, अपनी ड्यूटीज करती हूँ, भगवान का नाम लेती हूँ, एंड आई एम ट्राइंग टू डिटैच माई सेल्फ।
प्रोडक्टिविटी कितनी बढ़ी है तुम्हारी पहले से? बताओ, पहले तुम कितना काम कर पाते थे और अब कितना काम कर पाते हो?
अगर फिजिकली बोलूं तो भी वो भी बहुत बढ़ गई है, और इमोशनली तो डेफिनेटली बढ़ गई है, मेंटली फिजिकली भी बढ़ गई है मेरी प्रोडक्टिविटी। जो थकान थी शरीर में अब वो बहुत कम हो गया है, बहुत कम। क्योंकि काम कर रहे हैं तो थकना है, और थकते हैं तो इसलिए नींद भी बहुत अच्छी आ रही है, बट एनर्जी लेवल इज लाइक मल्टीप्लाइड।
बाकी लोग एग्री करते हो? श्रावणी, यश, डू यू गाइस फील द सेम वे?
एब्सोल्युटली मैम, यस।
इनफैक्ट मैम क्लास करते करते तो मेरे संग 2 दिन पहले जब हम मेडिटेशन कर रहे थे, ऐसा हुआ कि मैं कुछ गलत काम करती हूँ तो वो भी राइट हो जाता है।
नहीं, भगवान बहुत बहुत दयालु है। मैं यही सुन के बड़ी हुई कि मेरे पापा ना हमेशा यही बोलते थे कि भगवान बहुत दयालु है, लेकिन तब समझ नहीं आता था। अब समझ में आना शुरू हुआ कि आपको जब दुख भी देता है तो इसीलिए देता है कि आप जो है उसकी भक्ति के बारे में सुन सको, है ना। अगर वो आपको धकेल करके लेकर के आता है, और सबको को मिलता है कि नहीं मिलता है, लेकिन मोस्ट ऑफ यू केम टू मी कुछ जानने की इच्छा से कोई आया तो कोई तकलीफ में आया, लेकिन दोनों ही केस में यही हुआ कि आपको तकलीफ ने पकड़ के मेरे पास लाके दिया। अगर वो तकलीफ नहीं आती तो आप मेरे पास नहीं होते थे। और आज जो हम भगवत कथा कर रहे हैं, सबके बस का भी नहीं सुनना। हाउ मेनी पीपल है? जनरली हमारे कोर्सेज में 20-25-100 लोग भी कई बार आ जाते हैं, राइट। बट ये जगह पे आने के लिए, ये सुनने के लिए, ये ज्ञान लेने के लिए people are chosen. That is what I feel. भगवान भी देख रहा है कि कौन सिंसियर है।